What's up, people? Back out here in the garage, about to get some disassembly, more work done on the Cabriolet build. Probably going to start with pulling those rear struts out finally and dropping the rear beam. That's what we're going to start with, see what happens from there. May not go any further, but let's go check it out. Alright, so what we're going to be looking at here, I'm going to show you guys right now. It's what's going to be required to take off the strut and drop the rear beam out of the car. So we'll take a look at that now. Alright, so what you're going to need to do is at the base of the strut, like all cars, there's a nut and a bolt you can see here covered in dust and dirt. That's a 17 millimeter, the bolt and the nut are. That'll drop the strut out of the rear beam. So if you come up under here, you can look at where the rear beam is mounted. If you can see that, see if I can get the light position a little bit better. But yeah, so you got this nut here, and there's another one over on that side. Those will release the rear beam right there, and as you can see, those rear beam bushings, that rubber is just dry rotted and no good, so those are going to get replaced. I think we might do polyurethane on that, but show you guys, we'll take that out right now. Alright, so now you can see that the rear beam has dropped out of the struts on both sides. You can see I'm able to flex the beam downward a little bit. So that's all loose out of there. Now we can break the mounting bolts, mounting nuts loose from the rear beam and drop that down. You're going to need a jack. You're going to need a jack to hold probably the center of the beam so it doesn't just drop down onto the floor. So do that now. Alright, so now that the rear beam is supported with the jack over there, now we can go ahead and pull these nuts off the mounting point and drop this thing out of here. beam is out. The parking brake cables had to be slid out through the small little brackets they got, and the other thing was the brake lines. I just went ahead and cut those, like the fronts, because we're doing all new anyways, and we're gonna have to get new brake lines to fit to the Mark IV rear calipers. So this is what we got right now. See where I cut the brake line. Left the sway bar off on there for now. Alright, so now that we have the rear beam off, the next thing we need to do is release the strut from the body side. And to do that, you gotta put the rear seat forward, and I'll show you guys kind of how that's done. So what you're supposed to be able to do is pop the rear hatch, pull this lever, and that should release the rear seat. Unfortunately, the cable that runs all through here to the back latch of the seat is not working. I guess that's the luck of it. Alright, so since that cable's stuck, jammed, not working as it should be, I have to release the seat kind of manually. I'll show you guys how I'm doing that. So, I went ahead and stuck my light in here. I don't know if you can see back there. The light's a little too harsh. If you look back there, you can see that little tab right here, my fingers above. That needs to be pushed up, and that will allow the seat to be released and fold forward. So I'm gonna do that now. Now I can give you guys a better look at what I was talking about back here as far as what I released. That light positioned right at some point in my life. Alright, so if you can see in here, my finger, this tab right here, god damn it, it's fucking light. Alright, so if you see back here, this goldish release, that needs to be pressed back like so. It's what the lever's supposed to do, but this one isn't, so I just had to release that with a screwdriver and the seat popped right forward. Now I'll be able to access the tops of the struts, which are there, and we can drop those out, and that's one more thing finished. Pull this little rubber cover off of the top of the strut tower. That just pops right off. And do it to the other side. Get some light by chance. And you can just use a screwdriver or a pocket screwdriver or something to get up under that rubber lip to pry it up. Don't have one on me at the moment, so I just pried it up with my hands. You can do it either way. Probably prying it up with the pocket screwdriver would be a little bit easier. Alright guys, so I've been having a little bit of an issue for the past few minutes on how I'm going to get these struts out, because you can't fit an impact or even a socket on top of this portion in the body. So I've come up with something a little bit interesting, but this is what I'm looking at. So as you can see, there's nothing to access through the top. There's not really a straight shot on it. I tried I would use a 17mm wrench, box end wrench, and hold the flat sections of the strut, but I don't have a complete wrench set here at home, so come up with a little bit of a I don't even know what to call it, like a backyard mechanics solution or something. So I'll show you guys that right now. So you pretty much saw how that went. Basically what I did, I'll show you here on the other side. So I rolled the window down first of all so I could get access through here with my impact. And since the strut was no longer attached to the rear beam, I'll show you on this side, you're able to actually pull it out a good amount. It's the flex at the strut mount up there, but that flex allowed me just enough to get to the nut that sits up top. Where's my light? Yeah, that flex allowed me enough of an angle on the impact and the socket I had to get right on there and zip that off and not have to fight with it. So that's that. So here are two rear struts. Just a few things I've noticed on them since they've been out. Very rusty. The top cap is actually rusted through in spots. Well, actually, I guess the entire way around. Also on this same strut, broken coil spring. Always good for business. This one actually does not look too bad. It's not rusted like the other on that top cap. And it doesn't have a broken spring, but we all know we're going to be doing some coilovers on this thing. So I think that's probably going to wrap it up today. So that's all, guys.